Ever wondered why most web applications are fast and effortlessly handle massive amounts of traffic without any effects to their performance? Well, the secret is caching, and Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey offer excellent caching capabilities that can help you achieve similar performance ratings in your own web applications. Hello there, welcome to this Vultr Tech Talk. My name is Humphrey Pyre and I am a developer here at Vultr. In today's Tech Talk, join me as we discuss web application caching with Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. And the end goal for this is to achieve improved application availability, reliability, and performance in the long run. And to get started with that tech talk, what are Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey? These are managed high-performance in-memory key-value data store databases that are ideal for caching, real-time analytics, and message brokering. They support replication and horizontal scaling in your applications while supporting multiple data types such as strings, hashes, bitmaps, and geospatial data types for large applications. In addition, Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey offer a predictable pricing pattern in which you can forecast all possible costs for your cluster and scale your web applications as needed. Besides caching, you can use Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey with a couple of other use cases. These include media streaming, geospatial data processing, machine learning applications, chat and messaging, which enable you to implement real-time chat and messaging features in your existing applications, depending on your web application logic. And so, how exactly do Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey implement caching in your web applications? In a normal scenario, your web application could be running with a database backend like MySQL or PostgreSQL, and each time a user request comes in, this request is forwarded directly to the database backend for processing in form of a query. This entire process between the application and the database backend may take, let's say, something like 2 seconds to actually get a desired result. And in cases where you integrate a Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, all requests to this database backend are only sent at once, and any subsequent request will be cached to the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey cluster to actually process this request faster. So, by integrating Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey in your existing applications, you benefit from improved application performance and availability, reduced database load since most requests will now be served from the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey cluster instead of your direct database backend. You will also benefit from real-time data processing capabilities, which may not be available with your existing application structure, and in the long run, you also benefit from reduced web application load times since only cached data will be sent to your users unless new data is actually requested from the database backend that may actually evoke the caching in your Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. And so, now that we have explored Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, allow me to take you right into a demo where we shall actually deploy a Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey cluster and integrate it in a dynamic web application such as WordPress to ensure that all requests to our database backend are proxed through the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, and we can actually notice some general performance improvements in the long run. And so, without any further ado, let me take you right into this demo process and get to deploy some Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. So, to get started with that demo process, I already have an existing Vultr Cloud Compute instance that's running the Open Lightspeed Vultr Marketplace application for WordPress that we shall be using as our demo web application for WordPress. So, to get started with the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, first off, let's navigate right into databases right here within the Vultr customer portal. Click Add Managed Database. So, right on this Add Managed Database page, let's select Valkey as the database engine, and let's keep the default server configuration to Cloud Compute and use the default suggested plan. Let's keep the replica nodes to the default, which is 1. And right within the server location, let me actually go ahead and select a server location that is much nearer to my existing Vultr Cloud Compute instance. So in this case, let's select New York or the Vultr New Jersey location. And now, if we scroll down on this page, let's enter a label. For instance, let me call this Taste Valkey. And now, simply click Deploy Now. to enter the rebuilding process. Just give this rebuilding process just a little time to complete, something like 3 minutes, to ensure that your cluster status can change to running. And so now that our cluster status has changed from rebuilding to running, it means we can safely use it. And as you can notice in this particular output, I have some connection details, and you can see my location is New Jersey, while the general information also displays the node plan that I selected for this Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. So on my existing WordPress site, I have this simple demo that is loaded here. And if you're to test its performance differences by clicking sample page to actually see how it actually loads, you can see that the request is actually slow because it's served directly from the database backend. Let's actually go ahead and implement a Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey as the object catch solution for this WordPress site. So to do that, we simply have to go into the WordPress dashboard as an administrator. Right within my WordPress administrator dashboard, you can see that I have a simple plugin here called Lightspeed Catch, which is very good if you're using the Open Lightspeed web server like I am with the Vultr Marketplace application for Open Lightspeed WordPress. So right on this plugin, all we need to do is come right here to the catch option. And if we click catch, you can see that right on this catching option right here, you can see that we have object catching. So you can say the default method is memcatched, meaning that there is a default memcatched extension and installation on this machine, but would like to use our Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey cluster instead. So in such a scenario, let's click Redis because Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey are a drop-in replacement for Redis. So most Redis compatible plugins will actually be able to work with your Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey cluster. So right within the host field right here, let's navigate back into our Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, and let's just copy the host URL here. And now that we have copied this host field as it is with the full host name, let's just navigate back into our Open Lightspeed Catch settings. Let's add a new field, which is TLS, and open this URI scheme and paste our Vultr Managed Databases URL. So in this case, you can see that our host URL is TLS as the connection scheme for transport layer security that is required by Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, and our host name. So to proceed forward, you can see that we have another field for port. In this case, let's copy the port in our Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. So the port is 16752. So let's paste in the port right here. And now you can see that we have some values here that are very important to be filled in. So in this case, let's enter the username as default, which is the provided value here. And let's actually reveal the password. And then let's copy this revealed password right here that we can use to access this Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. And if we navigate back to our WordPress dashboard right here and paste the password, you can see that we have now formulated a very good structure here for our configuration. So we have the username as default and the password as our generated password. And now let's keep 0 as the database ID, but for our case, we can change it to any other random database, such as 10. So if we scroll down a bit, let's just keep the defaults enabled, and let's click Save Changes to actually see that we have a connection to the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. Now that we have the option saved, and you can see that in this particular status, our connection test has passed, meaning that the Open Lightspeed Catch plugin has a direct connection to the back to our Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. So that means that catching is actually taking place. But before we actually verify that, let's actually access this database and verify that indeed we have pushed some changes to it. So right within this Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey management page, let's just click copy connection string. And I have an existing SSH session to my WordPress server. So let's use that to actually access this Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey and verify if there is any data in here. So let's first of all install Redis tools, which includes the Redis CLI that we can actually use to access our managed databases. Now that we have Redis CLI installed on this particular WordPress server or management workstation, it could be whichever you have. So let's just navigate back to the Vultr customer portal and let's copy the connection string once again to verify that indeed we're using the correct database. So if we navigate back into this SSH session and press this connection string, you can see that it's using the Redis CLI tool and it's using the Redis URI scheme for a secure connection. So if I do press enter, you can see that we have access to the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey shell. So let's select 10, which is the particular database we selected in the WordPress site. And let's view all keys in this particular database. You can see that our Open Lightspeed Cache plugin has already added some data here. For example, you can see my dummy user email is already added to this particular Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. You can see it right here and a couple of other options that you may not be able to understand in plain language. However, the more users request data on your site, the more data will be added inside this Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, and in particular, the database 10 that we selected in the WordPress dashboard. So if we go back to the WordPress dashboard and just try to test these performance differences, so if we just refresh this page a little bit to verify that indeed we have a connection to the database, you can see our connection has passed and you can see our values are very much active. So let's just go ahead and access the home page of this WordPress site. And now let's just click sample page, which is an earlier request we did last time. So if we click sample page, this page is now faster as compared to the initial request we made at the start of our demo. This is because a request has been sent to the database backend and cached directly to the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey, which is now returning an even faster page. So if we go back to this home page again, so you can see that our request is once again very fast. So this is because we have integrated caching, and if we go back to this Managed Databases for Valkey and just check the number of keys that are here again, you can see that we may have new entries. Initially we had 38 and now we have 74. So the next time a user requests for the same kind of data, it's served from our in-memory data store, which is the Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey. So for every request made to our WordPress site, it's cached directly, and if you view the keys, there will be new data that will be added here unless it's purged from your plugin. And so in our demo, we have explored how you can actually deploy a Vultr Managed Databases for Valkey cluster and integrate it in an existing dynamic web application such as WordPress. You can install all compatible plugins such as PHP Redis or Redis Object Cache depending on your own preferences, but for the best results, you can always use existing caching plugins like W3 Total Cache, Open Lightspeed Cache that enable you to actually control this object cache solution while implementing page cache, on the other hand, to ensure the best performance for your web application. And so, I hope you did find this Vultr Tech Talk useful. If you did, I would like to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Vultr Tech Talk. Once again, thank you for watching.